Welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68's NBA Draft Prospect Profiles for the 2023 NBA Draft. My name is Rob Dosser. I have with me Randolph Childress, and today we are going to be breaking down Keyontae Johnson, the Kansas State star, the former Florida star, a fifth-year senior, a grad transfer, stands 6'6", weighs 230 pounds, averaged 17.4 points, 6.8 boards, 2.1 assists while shooting 51% from the floor and 41% from three. He's going to turn 23 later on this month, but that's not the most interesting part about him as a player. He missed 2 seasons after collapsing December 2020 while playing for Florida, came back after 2 years off and had an All-American season for Kansas State. There's a lot to get to here. So before we get to, some of the medical stuff and concerns about the heart and all that, RC, let's just talk about what he is as a player, because in my mind, I think he is a fantastic college basketball player. What I'm worried about is the translation to the next level for a guy who had a little bit of a tendency to rely on playing some bully ball. I think he kind of out physical guys in the Big 12, which says something because that's the most physical league in the country. What do you make of Keyontae Johnson as a potential NBA draft pick?
Let's leave the medical stuff aside. I like him. I like him a lot because I think he's one of these guys, unlike we just talked about some of these other prospects, he won't have a physical transition to that league. He's a grown man. I mean, physically, he's a man. And I think there's, to some extent, I mean, in that league, you're going to pick on matchups. He shoots it well. He's over 40% from three, 50% from the floor. Percentages in college tell you that when guys shoot at 50 and 40%, they know what they are. And that's massive going to that league. Forget all what you project and what you think. Teams don't have time to wait a lot. And when a guy comes in there mature enough, he's still relatively young. He missed 2 years. If all the boxes check medically, this guy was going to be a first-round draft pick a couple of years ago. I think he was, and if I'm someone at the bottom half of the first round, I would consider it. I really would strongly consider it because I think it's still right now, only 22 years old. He played 5 years. We got guys 24, 25, 26 years old in their fifth year. I like him a lot. I think it's, when all the boxes check medically, I think he proved a lot to everyone else about him this past year. No one will get poked and prodded at the combine more than this guy will medically. But his game is, I'm a fan of it. And I'm actually cheering for him. I thought he's the best story in college basketball last year. And I'm cheering for him. And I'm hoping someone gives him a shot and get some goes out there and play and can put this behind him. But I love his game. I think he's strong. I think he rebounds well. I think he can be a really good defender if he wants. Playing bully ball again isn't a bad thing for him as a guard, as a 6'6", 230 guard that can make shots. I think he's a guy that can step in and play for you right away and give you the ability to switch and guard multiple positions. And there's not a lot of guys in the draft that can do that.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're drafting him, when he was at Kansas State this past season, he was a go-to guy. He was a star. They basically had 2 studs. It was him and Marquise Noel, and what Kansas State's offense was all right, Marquise, you would try to make something happen. When that don't work, give the ball to Keyontae Johnson, let him make a play. The step back that he hit to tie the game at the end of I think it was the Elite Eight game that they lost to Florida Atlantic, was cold-blooded. That's the kind of thing that you're getting out of him. But I think that in the NBA, what makes him such a quality piece, I think is the best way to say it, is that you can have him guard 2s. You might be able to have him guard 1s because of his length, but he's strong enough. He can guard any 4 right now. Yes. He's listed at 6'6". I think he's probably a little bit closer to 6'4". I've walked by him, RC. He does not have the presence,
the physical stature.
Yeah, the physical stature of a 6'6" guy. But he's 230 pounds, and he's all muscle. That dude. When you don't play for 2 years and all you could do is live in the weight room, you could see that my man did a lot of push-ups.
And he got the wingspan. He's got the wingspan. He plays bigger than that. That's why he'll be able to play against bigger guys and defend 1 through 4, is because he has the wingspan and the want to. There's credit to him for what he's gone through. I don't know how you don't cheer for him, and honestly, I don't know how you don't give him a chance. I just think he's physically ready. He's gone through so much. It says so much about his character. How would you not want a guy like that on your team? That knows what he is, that's effective and efficient, more importantly, with his opportunities. And I would. He's definitely somebody I can see, kind of going late first round, at the end of the first round, because this isn't the strongest draft,
Yeah.
and that's why I think you can take a pick on him.
I don't the thing that concerns me with the late first is there are going to be question marks about the heart issue, right? I mean, you guys can go research this yourself, but the long and short of it is that he passed out, spent 4 days in the ICU, I believe it was, when he was at Florida. And he was cleared to play this year at Kansas State. And we've seen guys that have had similar issues make it to the NBA. But I don't know if I would use first round draft capital on him, where you're locked into 4 years of guaranteed money with someone that you're not 100% sure will be able to be around for 4 years. So a lot of that's going to come down to the doctors. I will say this, though. When you are looking for guys to play this kind of a role that are basically, let's call it what it is, 3-and-D role players coming off the bench, most likely, you want someone that's going to be able to sacrifice and not necessarily be all about themselves. And I don't know if there's one player that would understand the value of being on an NBA roster more than what Keyontae Johnson would understand. And I think that would be a part of it as well. And I've been around the kid a little bit. Like, I do think that he is going to be a good presence in a locker room. And that matters too when you're a bench guy. You don't want people causing problems if you're playing 15 minutes a game off the bench.
We
Can't
just
be that guy. Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more true. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.
You don't even want it when it starters. I mean, you better be worth your problems, but he won't cost you. And someone
are you talking to Dylan Brooks right now?
Hey, do I need to say his name? Like, no. It's funny, but you know what, Rob? Seriously, it's the reason why I say it is because half these teams are going to get in a draft that's considered a down draft anyway. At least I take a pick on a guy that I know what he is, and if medically everyone's going to do their homework, and again, Kansas State was rewarded for taking advantage of it, giving him an opportunity when no one else did. And I think that'll be the same thing coming from the NBA. I think someone will look at him and draft. You get in the late 20s anyway. None of your traditional young guys is helping any of these teams that played in the last round, because that's what you're looking at. Like, what team can help me? But a guy 6'5" or so, 230, physical, rebound, defender, defend multiple positions, and can knock down 40% of his threes. Every team playing right now could use a guy like that. And that's what you're talking about when you're looking for a guy like that. That's why I say it's I can see someone late in the first round saying, hey, you know what? I need a guy that I can plug away right now, because essentially we're talking about playoff teams. And you want a young guy that could come through the door right away when you're talking late first round. That's why I say late first round it's a positioning, because, again, we're talking about teams that are just lost in the first round, last round, or playing right now.
Best case scenario for him, something like a Trevor Ariza, maybe a poor man's OG Anunoby, someone in that kind of a role.
You think of it because more of the physical guys coming in. I mean, he has that Malcolm Brogdon type of body style. He's not a lead guard like Brogdon, but he's a guy I think could come off the bench. You can put the ball in his hands. I don't think he's not making decisions. He's not a primary decision maker, but like we said, 3-and-D guy. Why would you not invest in a 3-and-D guy? And more importantly, his character and what he's going to bring to your locker room. I don't know why anybody wouldn't want a piece of that, considering, again, everything has to check out medically, and I think it will.
He passed up a $5 million insurance payout to bet on himself and see what he can do as a professional basketball player. I have a feeling that he's going to end up making more money than that as a role guy at the end of the bench somewhere for 6 to 8 years. I don't think he's ever going to be a star, but I would not be surprised if in 8 years in the 2031 NBA playoffs, you looked up and you're like, oh, wow, Keyontae Johnson's still on a roster. How about that? Good for him.
I'll add this, Rob. I think he's the type of person that'll bet on himself again. And once medically everything check out, he'll put a clause in to say, hey, if this, I'm choosing to do this. And if I want to do this, something happens, then, and a team would do the right thing. We're not, first round draft pick. You're not investing, like all these teams are doing. You're throwing crap at the wall, hoping to stick. I think we both know from just a pure basketball perspective that this kid there's something to him, and he's the type of kid that can make a roster and be effective.
Yeah, I agree. Listen, this has been the draft profile for Keyontae Johnson. Make sure you check the description below. There will be links to our entire series. We're doing more than 60 draft profiles. We will also be doing a live mock draft a week before the NBA draft starts. Make sure to keep your eye out for that. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the Field of 68. Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.